We have choristers waiting in the wings as we speak, warming up their voices ahead of our concert this evening of Danforth's Requiem of the Living and Vivaldi's Gloria. Before we get to that, though, a special edition of Backstage with the Queensland Choir. I have husband and wife singing duo here, Kirsten and Gordon, with me. They're going to talk a little bit about their singing journey, and we're going to also speak about what it's like to sing in the Queensland Choir. First, Kirsten, tell me, what or who inspired you to take up singing?
I started singing from a very early age. My mother and my grandmother were both singers, and my eldest sister recognised that her little baby sister could actually hold a tune. And so the middle sister and I were marched off to a professional children's choir, and we auditioned. So I was singing from the age of 7 in a choir that toured the world, sort of international tours.
Wow.
And then did music at school, always sang in school choirs. And as an adult, I missed that, and so joined a local community choir where I was living, and then found my way to the Queensland Choir.
And is there a specific soprano voice that has sort of been a guiding mark for you, or someone that you've tried to emulate? Or
I love Baroque music, so beautiful Baroque soloists like Sarah McIver, who's an Australian, and Emma Kirkby is sort of a bit of an early music soprano, but obviously the classics, Renee Fleming, Kiri Te Kanawa, all of those great sopranos.
I'd say we have similar tastes.
Yes, I also like a Norwegian soprano, Kirsten Flagstad. There are a lot of people who have inspired me.
And who inspired you to take up singing, Gordon?
Well, I think my earliest influence was probably my father, who had a very nice voice, and I think that listening to him sing at Scottish events like Cayley's, I listened to that, and so did my brother, and we just both enjoyed the musicality of his voice and others around him, and so that initially inspired me to try it myself. Like Kirsten, I was exposed to music through my schooling career. My first major role was as Mary in the in the school production, and I starred 2 years in a row, and that really got me sparked up for performance on the stage. So we did a lot of religious music throughout school, and so that gave me a lot of exposure to choral music in particular. And later on I did a music degree and went on to sing professionally for a while, and then eventually found myself in Queensland Choir.
And tell me a little bit more about that. What keeps you coming back to choir practice every Monday night?
Well, I think it's probably the progression of a piece or a work, and seeing it from its early stages and come to fruition in a performance. I enjoy the progression of the rehearsal process. Our choir master, Kevin Power, is particularly expert in getting the best out of singers, and there's all sorts of, I suppose, degrees of experience and knowledge within the choir. I mean, I've got a degree in music, but others, some don't particularly read music all that well. But Kevin seems to manage to get the best out of everyone, and we end up with, from an initial point where things don't seem like they might be meshing, to a blended, beautiful performance at the end, and that's what keeps coming. That's why I keep coming back to it.
And Kirsten, what's your experience? If you had to describe your experience singing in the Queensland Choir, how would you describe it?
I've been singing in the Queensland Choir since 1999, so it's 25 years this year.
Good on you.
Me too.
We joined the same year. And as Gordon said, it's producing beautiful choral works and the satisfaction of doing a really good performance. I will always critique myself at the end of the performance and say, I actually sang one wrong note, or I got this bar wrong, or it's something that I like to excel in, and so I sort of I examine it afterwards and see how I could have done it better.
Yeah.
But
Well, and on the topic of critiquing, the Queensland Choir is an auditioned choir. For new members that might be a little bit nervous about that, what would you say to sort of console them, I guess?
it's a simple process. It's not a life or death situation. If you're nervous, then everybody's nervous, whether you're a novice singer or whether you're semi-professional or have been a previous professional musician. It's not that daunting. It's over in a few minutes, and Kevin is really just trying to listen to your voice to see where you fit, and sort of listen to your range and your voice quality to see if it's going to be a fit for our choir.
Nice. Well, it's almost time for us to be on stage. I guess just to wrap it up, this is a question for both of you. Which movement or which work are you looking forward to most singing this evening?
The first time I sang Vivaldi Gloria was when I was 15.
Wow.
So I have sung it many times and I love singing it. I don't need the music for it, but I love singing it. But the Dan Forest is a beautiful piece of work, and there are some fabulous phrases in there for sopranos, which I enjoy singing, and I love both pieces, so I'll enjoy both of them tonight.
And for you, Gordon?
And the same for me. I think both of them are wonderful pieces, and they really show off the composer's various styles. The harmonies and blends within the music are just heavenly. So I think anyone that's coming along tonight is in for a treat.
Perfect way to finish. If you've been inspired by Kirsten and Gordon's stories here and you'd like to join us, simply head to our website, queenslandchoir.com. You'll find all the information you need to become a chorister with us. And don't forget that you can hear our concerts any time of day on our YouTube channel.